Alright, hello everybody, welcome to the eOnzErG versus Dewalt Showmatch. Today, we've got a treat for you guys. We're going to be pitting some of the very best foreign players in the Brood War scene, and we're going to be doing a best of 7. Today I am joined by my co-caster, Doc Holiday. How's it going, man?
What up, dudes? It's going pretty good. My birthday today, and getting to cast some StarCraft with one of my homies. So I'm pretty down. You guys aren't seeing this right now, but eOnzErGs challenging Dewalt to shave his head if Russia wins.
Alright guys, so gonna take us into our very first map, which is going to be Circuit Breakers. We've got a pretty interesting map pool. And we've got some pretty creative maps, but we're going to start off with one that's a little bit more low-key. And it's going to be pretty interesting because both these players picked 3 maps. This one was picked by eOnzErG. Not a huge surprise there. I think it's a pretty good map for Zerg. And we're going to get right into it. These players, it is very late for them in EU time, especially Dewalt. So we're going to try to get right into this.
Yeah, I would say that this map is one of the best maps that isn't like overtly broken when it comes to UEP. The third is much more attackable on this map than it is on like Fighting Spirit and you know, a lot of other standard maps. There are a couple different attack paths. There's tons of expansions for Zerg to eat up all over the place. So I think we should be in for a good game number 1 for eOnzErG here.
Precisely. Now,
Oop.
wanted to give a little bit. Looks like hopefully we shouldn't have too much latency issues. We are connecting all the way from West Coast to Central Russia, so looks like it's clearing up a little bit. We might be dealing with some lower turn rate than these players are used to.
Yep, well, we're at turn rate 10 right now, which isn't awful. Definitely playable. I don't really like playing on anything below turn rate 10, though. Oh, darn it. Turn rate 8. Okay, we're going to remake, it looks like.
Yeah, okay, it was on dynamic, so that did not work.
Alright, guys, 1 second. Let me get my hacker skills on. We're gonna hack the internet real quick and get these guys a little more of their country's bandwidth devoted to them. 1 second, let me just slam my keyboard real quick. Alright, it's done. Alright. Oh my god, what can I say, dude? Alright.
So, by the ways, if you guys did not see the first screen here, which I'm just popping up right there, we are working with a $70 prize pool. We had a goal of $50, and we smashed that. We're already at 70. We got some nice custom merch on there, and also you can contribute for free by using the code SUMMERBW1 and 2, and you can join that and help out these guys and make a little bit extra money. So if you guys are interested in helping out, you can go to the link on there and contribute. So hopefully we can increase the prize pool and get a pretty nice reward. So we remade the first game, and we are going to be starting. Hopefully we get some better turn rate. Alright, for map number 1 on Circuit Breakers, in the bottom corner, we have the yellow Protoss, Dewalt.
Alrighty, and spawning in the top right-hand corner as the teal Zerg, we got my boy Eon. So I'm gonna look. We gotta set this up right now at the start of this cast. Okay, I'm a Zerg player. I'm gonna be Zerg biased. You're the Protoss player. You can be as Protoss biased as you want, but I'm gonna let you know right now. I'm gonna be the most biased caster here, and there's no way that Ian's gonna lose. I'm just saying right now. Ian's coming out with the prize pool, my friend.
Yeah, that's interesting because I wanted to introduce these players a little bit, but we had to get the cast started right away. But I think eOnzErG is coming into a little bit of an advantage here. He most recently beat Dewalt in the third, fourth place match for BSL 4, and he won that 3-1, I believe. Previous to that, Dewalt had beaten eOnzErG more often, but I think eOnzErG may be training a bit more than Dewalt. I know both the players are pretty active, but as far as recent experience, eOnzErG has a little bit of a lead in this matchup.
Yeah, I know specifically eOnzErG recently actually announced his intention to go ahead and train super duper hard. He wants to hit 3K MMR specifically, so that way he feels confident enough to move to Korea and make a name for himself in the Korean Brood War scene. And I think that's super awesome. But if that means that eOnzErG is training his butt off, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what Dewalt's schedule's looking like, man. I'm not sure if he's working, if he's going to school, or what's going on here. But Eon's been training super hard.
Yeah, and eOnzErG has just been a really good player for a long time. Both these players really kind of rose to fame after the heyday of Brood War in the 2010 to 2012 era. Was kind of when they came into their own in the scene. And since then, I think they've been arguably the best Protoss and Zerg in the scene. So they've played a lot of games against each other. They know each other's style, and I think it's going to come into a lot of mind games with these players in the build order and decision making. So for this game, we've got a Forge first from Dewalt, in a 13 Nexus. So nothing aggressive coming out of him. Did not go gate first because the cross spawns gate first would be very tough. And he's just going to be settling into a more standard game with the Forge first.
Yeah, I'm liking the Forge first build a lot more recently. When Gate first came out, it was like this new thing, and it was like destroying people all over the place. But since then, Zergs have kind of figured out how to really easily stabilize, not easily, but like how to stabilize pretty well versus the early Zealot aggression from Gate first builds, and thus I think people are falling back a little bit more into favor with the Forge first. We did see a whole bunch of Forge first at the KSL qualifiers, both on and offline. Even from the Korean offline qualifiers. So I would say that if there was a solid build to just keep on practicing, Forge First is definitely the one to go for.
Yeah, I think the difference between the Forge first and the Gate first is, of course, with Gate first, you're going to try to delay the tech of Zerg a little bit by forcing out some lings, getting some drone damage done. With Forge first, you're not relying on that as much, and you're more trusting your own ability to get your tech out faster. And even with the Forge first, you can still be aggressive by getting some good Zealot timing attacks and getting some Templar out pretty quick in the field.
Yeah, Gate first also does put you at significantly slower Corsair. And I've noticed, at least in watching streams and stuff like that from Jaeyoon, Zergs tend to try to time their layer at the same time regardless. You're going to be a lot lower on a mineral economy, but getting the gas started around the same time anyways, getting the layer started at the same time anyways, and then getting eventually the Spire at the same time can potentially put Protoss in a position to be taken advantage of by Mutalist play when their Corsair numbers aren't quite as high as they would normally have them if they had gone Forge first. Because constant Zealot production does put you a little bit behind as far as the timing of the rest of your tech goes, unless you skip Forge, which then puts you at vulnerability to a Zealot counterattack. So overall, I don't know. We've seen Gate first fall out of favor, and I think that has something to do with it. I think Zergs are just getting a lot better at dealing with a Gateway first, and since then it's been kind of a danger to be going Gate first versus stronger Zergs.
Yeah, Dewalt Stargate is at a really good time here. It started about 14-20 seconds. That's a really good time, and it's the first Corsair is going to come out. Might be able to get an Overlord kill. We'll have to see. And Dewalt also getting 2 cannons, just being safe here. One thing that's interesting is Dewalt always spaces his cannons back and always has a very nice SimCity here. Has plenty of room for extra cannons if he's sniffing out a Hydra Bust.
Yeah, I like Dewalt's cannon placement a lot. A lot of newer players will put them right up against the wall, and it makes it a little bit easier for them to be Hydra busted down, as they're going to be closer for Hydralists when your opponent decides to go for speed instead of range. With range, even you'll be drawing them in closer to the wall if they're trying to focus cannons down. So overall, very nice placement, but it's not too far back that it's going to make the cannons ineffective versus any kind of Hydra bust as well. Alrighty, well, looks like Eon's Spire is still just finishing up here, so we might see this Corsair get a kill before the Scourge get out here, but it's a little bit unlikely. We do have Scourge already being produced from eOnzErG. Depends on which hatchery they come out first, I suppose. But losing at least like one Overlord to a Corsair early on in the game isn't typically something that players don't plan for, especially a Zerg the caliber of Eon. And it looks like this Overlord's most likely going to get it.
Ooh, Dewalt moving to second Corsair in, and it's going to snipe that Overlord. That's a nice move there. And will be good pickup. Now, something huge here is eOnzErG is going for Mutalisks. eOnzErG likes his Mutalisks, but there's only 3 out on the map, and they're being revealed right now, and they're going to be used to defend this small Zealot child.
Yeah, Eon is pretty dang well known for his Mutalisk micro. It's probably the best Mutalisk micro out in the foreign scene right now. He's incredibly aggressive with his Mutalisks and usually is able to get a lot of value out of it. But Dewalt already producing, 4 Corsairs, and it looks like he's getting +1 weapons as well. So we'll have to see. It's going to be very difficult for Eon to leverage these Mutalisks into getting any real type of advantage out of them. But he is also transitioning into a 6-hatch Hydra style. And this is a kind of a build that relies on getting a nice big macro lead and getting all your upgrades and then going for kind of a later mid-game Hydralist push. So it's not necessary for him to get a ton of work done with these Mutalisks, as long as he keeps them alive and uses them to snipe Templar later.
Yeah, once you get to that number of Corsairs around 7 or 6 with +1 attack, you can kill infinite number of Muta and Scourge pretty much as long as your micro is good. So, the Mutas were a decent investment for eOnzErG as far as gas. And I think if they don't end up doing a lot here, he could be set back quite a bit. And I think eOnzErG will be just fine with his defense here. He has some Templars out if there will be a Hydra follow-up. And there's already enough Corsairs here with +1 finished as well.
Yeah, I mean, so this is a style, a specific stylistic choice. So instead of going for lurkers, you go for a Hydralisk with a couple of Mutas, and the Mutas are used to pick off a High Templar in the army when the army is pushing. So that way, instead of having your opponent waste his storms on your lurkers, he just doesn't have storms to begin with. As long as Eon has good Mutalisk control, and he very much does, he shouldn't have any kind of issue losing these Corsairs these Mutas to the Corsairs. There we go. Looks like Muta's taking some bruisings, but getting pushed away by the Scourge. Not bad, not bad.
And the Corsair number is already at 8. Looks like Dewalt will stop there. That's pretty much all he needs to make, as long as his micro is good. Now we can look at taking a third and expanding his gateway count, which is new gateways are up, and he will start to produce the gateway pump now. Now eOnzErG has a 4th base at the second expansion here, so that's a pretty well-timed 4th from him, and Dewalt should identify that and needs to worry about getting some pressure out on that base before eOnzErG can start to secure a large number of bases.
Yeah, I think this base is specifically positioned to be hidden. Typically, you want to take the 4th base at another natural, so you can use the architecture of the map to help protect yourself and insulate yourself from ground attacks from the Protoss. Whoa! Very major deal here. We just lost half of the Corsair count in the blink of an eye. But these Mutalisks are very essential to Eon's strategy, so he really needs to keep these guys alive here, but it looks like he may be losing them to the rest of the Corsairs.
Yeah, lost 2 Overlords in the middle of the map. That's what Dewalt was going out for. But losing 4 Corsairs is a pretty big deal. At least he still has some, which he can save. And the Hydro Pump is starting to get going for eOnzErG. He might start to put a lot of pressure on Dewalt. Dewalt still does not have that third base. When we start to get into the 10-minute realm, it's where Dewalt's going to start looking to take that third base, and he's got to defend this Hydro push. Now, with on circuit breakers behind these bridges, you can defend quite well. But a lot of times what Zergs will do is they will go up on this plateau on circuit breakers, which it looks like Dewalt is going to try to get on top of. And it's going to be crucial to get to storms on the Hydras when the Hydras are on the low ground. Otherwise, he's not going to be able to defend that many Hydras.
Yeah, this is actually pretty interesting. The supply differential here isn't really very large at all. And typically you want to see Protoss in the lead by a significant portion of supply at this point in the game. But Eon's macro has just been pretty incredible at this point in the game. Storm's been pretty decent, though, getting a whole bunch of Hydralisk kills here while not losing too much of his ground army. And Dewalt is doing a very, very good job at fighting this Hydralisk attack.
Yeah, solid storms there, evened it up, and he's taking his third behind this. So that was a good defense from Dewalt. Now, Dewalt is still needs to scout that fourth base. In all likelihood, what will happen is Lurkers will be out by that time, and then he will be able to entrench that base quite well. But, you know, Dewalt, I mean, eOnzErG's macro is you don't want to mess around with that. He's got so many Hydras on the way. But that was a pretty big loss for eOnzErG. He lost a ton of Hydras there and didn't really kill that many Protoss unit. Now there's a 20 supply lead, and it's going to continue to climb once Protoss establishes their third base.
Yeah, I mean, while that attack wasn't particularly successful, I believe that eOnzErG is still in quite a commanding position. He's on currently 8 hatcheries with 4 bases. And at this point in the game, that's a pretty significant amount of hatcheries and units and production to have. Looks like we have a move incoming from Dewalt now, pushing out to the mineral-only base of eOnzErG. This may be a precarious position. Oh, but the initial lurker gets sniped. So
massive storms at the bottom there. eOnzErG lost all of his flanking.
Trying to take out these super slow High Templar, though. Oh no. And this is not the type of position. Well, never mind. Superstorms come in here, destroy a huge. I was gonna say you don't ever want to be surrounded by Hydralisks like this, but then, oh man, Hydralisks or the storm just erased the Hydralisks in the back and stopped that surround from getting too much value.
Yeah, Dewalt did a really good job in that fight, taking on the Hydras. He's gonna lose a few High Templars. It looks okay. Saves him there. The Hydras are still gonna push this back, but the problem with that is that Dewalt still lost some army. Now the supply is a lot closer, and Hydras are so cheap and they can be reinforced so fast when you have the number of macro hatches that eOnzErG had. So though Dewalt got some really good storms up, I don't think it was enough. And I think Dewalt's in a bit of a precarious position with the 4th up, and now eOnzErG is going to start adding on a 5th base, and that's when Zerg gets really scary.
Oh yeah, most definitely. So this has actually been just terrible for Dewalt so far. You really, especially when you're moving to the stage where you really want to be producing dragoons in your army, you really don't want to be losing those High Templars because they're very expensive on gas, and it's going to make your composition more and more zealot heavy. So it's kind of a big deal here that he only has a single High Templar left in the main army here, and now is having to produce some additional ones. eOnzErG has a much larger gas count. He's securing the 12 o'clock base here. And Dewalt is going to struggle very hard trying to secure a 3rd gas for himself, and this is a serious victory for eOnzErG going forward in this match.
And Dewalt still does not know about that 4th base in the bottom corner, and it's getting quite heavily defended. And that's one of the things about circuit breakers that does make it hard for Protoss. Like you said, it's so hard to get that 3rd gas, and once Zerg gets their own, it's a hard uphill fight for Protoss. Dewalt still has a 30 supply lead, and he's going to push out here, but this next fight is going to be so important for Dewalt. He needs to get something, some economic damage done to stem the tide.
Yeah, it looks like that Dewalt. Oh man, I was going to say it looked like he was moving down to the bottom right to check that base there, but I think that would have potentially been a mistake and have opened him up to getting his 4th sniped again. He's just scouting it now with a zealot here, so Dewalt's probably gonna be feeling a little funny now, knowing that he's got an additional base in the bottom right-hand corner of the map that he has to deal with. But this is going to be a difficult base for eOnzErG to defend. He's got, you know, a decent number of Sunkens and a couple of lurkers down there, but it's going to be very risky for him to gonna move his army down. Dewalt to move his army down there to take it out. But if he does, it's a pretty serious economic blow.
Yeah, massive storms going on at the top for Dewalt, and he's engaging these lurkers all right. But attacking up this ramp doesn't really gain him anything. It's so hard to attack up here when there's lurkers in the back, and he's going to be pushing down to the third, the mineral only third. But I don't think he's in a position here while killing these units is really gaining him that much. He is climbing in supply though, and eOnzErG has a flanking force coming in of Lings.
Well, this is the point in time where the Protoss starts to get very powerful. After a certain point in the game, once the Protoss has developed a sufficiently sophisticated army composition and a large enough supply bank, the Protoss starts to really be able to roll over the Zerg in more direct engagements. So Dewalt is going to try to continue to leverage his macro economy and take these fights because his army is going to be very supply efficient versus the army that Dewalt is, or that the eOnzErG is able to field until he's got defilers on the map here. Speaking of which, Hive just finishing up now, so we should be seeing crackings on the field and some defilers coming up here in a little bit. That's going to severely increase the effectiveness of the army that eOnzErG has, and then the plagues especially are going to make it difficult for Dewalt to continue to take these just kind of super hard fights in the front. But Dewalt pressing his advantage now to the third, and he's got a very powerful looking army right now.
He's attacking into a concave of lurkers though, and that's bad news for the Zealots. He's going to have to pull back. He doesn't have any storms left, it looks like. Just engaging with Zealots and Dragoons. He's going to take a pretty even fight here, clean up some Lings and Hydras. But the supply gap is closing. It's only a 30 supply lead now, and that's not bad for eOnzErG. Crucially though, Dewalt did secure that fourth with the third gas, or he's attempting to secure. Gets a good storm off on the lurkers and has a couple of cannons. I think he will secure that just fine.
We got a right click move though. The army not fighting and just getting tons of damage, taking a super hard beating from like one supply group worth of Lings. That's kind of a little bit of a costly mistake there, and it looks like eOn's gonna scout out the 9 o'clock base as well that's trying to be taken by Dewalt. So eOn is moving a contingent of Zerglings now down to try to go and deal with that.
Lings are gonna slip in here and might get onto this Nexus. Okay, won't be able to force a cancel because the Lings Zealots are here.
Oh, he might. These are Krakens, buddy.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say these are Krakens. Cracklings are literal eraser buttons for Protoss buildings. You drop 2 Overlords worth of Cracklings into the main base, and you'll get 3-4 gateways, no problem. Yeah. Now, one thing that I kind of disagree with the way that Dewalt is handling, or had been handling this, is he did have a significant contingent of High Templar just chilling at his natural expansion. And he has been taking some significantly inefficient fights due to the fact that they weren't with his main army. I kind of wish that he had his storms with his army a little bit earlier, because now he's at a much less favorable position than he was just like a minute ago.
Dewalt's army is kind of getting split up here. Got some Lings. Looks like they might cancel that 5th again for Dewalt. Dewalt was trying to make something happen at the 12 o'clock position, but he has to pull back. This is the phase of Zerg that gets so annoying when you're not fighting with groups of Hydra Lurker again. You're just running groups of Krakens all over the map and picking the Protoss apart. It's so hard for Protoss to deal with. Dewalt is one of the better people who can, but it looks like even now there's a group of Ling and Lurker coming into the 6 o'clock position.
Oh man, and losing this 6 o'clock base is so significant for Dewalt. He's going to be down to 2 gas, and I think one of them might even be depleted at this point in time. It looks like Dewalt is going to call the GG, and that is game 1 to eOnzErG.
Yeah, that was a tough game. I mean, I think eOnzErG really used the terrain of Circuit Breaker to his favor pretty clearly.
Yeah, I mean, I think taking that bottom right base had a lot to do with it. eOnzErG took a couple of additional hatcheries much earlier than you're usually able to see a Zerg get on. So he had a very strong economy going into the mid game, and I think Dewalt not scouting the bottom right in time and to make a counterattack on that and kind of stem the returns that Eon got from that base really seriously hurt his chances in the late game.
Yeah, it looks like Dewalt is going to be choosing the next map. It is loser pick from here. And I guess I'll take this time to mention our map pool. So for the maps, we got Dewalt picked Bloody Ridge, Polaris Rhapsody, and Blitz X. eOnzErG picked Circuit Breaker, Sniper Ridge, and Electric Circuit. I chose Clayfields as the deciding map, a foreign-made map.
And if I had a choice, I would have chosen Sparkle because I hate Brood War and I don't want anyone to like it either.
Yeah, I don't think those players would forgive me for doing that.
Dude, what was Afrika thinking though? Hold on for a second. If there was a map that you could purposely choose to make no one want to watch Brood War, wouldn't it be Sparkle? Right?
We're having a PvP finals too.
I know. Oh my gosh. You know what though? I think PvP was maybe the best matchup that you could have on the last ASL's map pool because everything else is like so awkward and wonky. At least with a mirror matchup, everyone kind of has like the same tools and it's not like just super awkward for one of the races to play. Like, come on. Really though, come on, Afrika, get your shit together, dude. Anyone could have told you, dude. If Rhoda is okay with the map pool that you picked, then there's something wrong, dude.
I know Rhoda's weird map league. Gotta join that next time.
Yeah, ASL 6. By the way, what is it? Chrysalis is going to be in the map pool. I believe that's confirmed. I got that from my super secret Korean sources.
That's gonna be insane.
You know what's gonna be insane? Seeing Cadenzi in the ASL one day. That's gonna be insane. Cool. Seeing eOnzErG versus Cadenzi ASL finals, ASL 7, dude. Oh my god. How sick would that be?
Has she has she beaten any pre-top Koreans? Like
Oh, she has taken games off of them, and I know that she's beaten a couple of them, but not like not god tier Koreans. She's taken games off people, but she's still in training mode, man. Everett's still putting her through the loop here, getting her all of her stuff down.
All right, so for game 2 on Polaris Rhapsody of the Dewalt eOnzErG show match, it's Dewalt in the top right corner.
And then in the bottom left-hand corner, which is actually the bottom right-hand corner, I'm just playing games with my boy Gorgonoth here. We have the purple Zerg, which is, in my opinion, the coolest Zerg. We got eOnzErG, my man.
I don't know why the left-right-hand corner is so difficult.
Overlay, homeboy.
Oh my goodness. Thank you.
And in the center of the screen, we have an awesome-looking Hydralisk.
So Polaris Rhapsody is not a map that we see a ton. It's not not on the ladder pool, and it's an interesting map. It is a pretty good map for Protoss, if I remember correctly. It's got the easier to hold third gas, so that's something Protosses will be able to defend, kind of like Fighting Spirit. With they can wall that in with a few cannons and get that third base up and running much faster. And it's also a 2-player map, so it's a shorter rush distance. That's something that's going to be a factor here.
Yeah, I think one of the most notable features of this map is the corner bases, top right and bottom left, have double gas, which changes the dynamic fairly significantly. If you can secure that base, that's a pretty massive advantage for whoever you are. I think that taking these bases is going to be pretty high priority, and I think it's going to actually play kind of a little bit into the style of eOnzErG. He does like to be all over the map, take map control, and be very aggressive all the time. And so when you're trying to secure a difficult to secure base, a good way to do it is to just be in your opponent's face all the time so they can't come over and be in your face. And I'm looking forward to seeing what's going on with these double gases here.
Okay, now this is pretty big. Dewalt's going Nexus first. That's pretty insane.
Is it though?
I don't know. It's a little. It's still pretty It's not like the
It's risky.
greediest thing in the world, but it is
Yeah, yeah,
risky.
it's risky. But here's the thing. Okay, so there's this weird, and I like for anyone who's played Brood War long enough, there's this weird thing about two-player maps, right? So you know that your opponent knows where you spawn, okay? So you have a couple of options. You can A, be safe to make sure that you don't get cheesed out, right? Or you can assume that your opponent thinks that you're going to be safe and then get really greedy instead and do the most economic opening ever that's open to cheese and hope that your opponent goes, well, it's a two-player map, so he's probably going to play it safe, and so cheesing is not going to work. And so it's like this weird, like, double reverse psychology shit where, like, because I do this all the time. On, like, two-player maps, I'll go, like, 3 hatch before pool and just assume that my opponent thinks I'm going to cheese them.
Yeah,
And
well, look,
in a way, it's kind of cheesy, right?
yeah, it's true. I mean, eOnzErG went for a pretty fast third as well in the far and the double gas style. Um, so that's going to be huge if he can get that up. That's going to be so massive. That much gas early on is going to be so tough for Dewalt to deal with. But
Dude, I
Dewalt went
called it, man.
economic as well. So Dewalt's in an okay position to handle it, I think, because he went for such a fast next. He's going to have fast tech as well.
Yeah, this is actually a pretty fantastic opener. Going for the next first into Forge, then Gateway, then Cannon is pretty sick. And only going for the single cannon as well. He's going to be getting his Cybo up very shortly. And it's going to be putting him with a very, very fast tech. Something I might like to see from Dewalt on this map would be non-Stargate play. But looks like he's going for Stargate play anyways. That's always safe. But I don't know. I just feel like knowing kind of how eOnzErG plays, it'd be really cool if he decided to just go for like 4-gate speed lot and just go all in and just assume that Eon was going to go take that bottom base super early. Because that's exactly what he did. And I'm a little afraid that Eon's is going to potentially go for that style that we saw Michael play, Red Michael, or aka Cheese King, like at the
Right.
Zotac Cup, and just go like mass muta with upgrades and Scourge and just, oh man, that's such a scary style.
Okay, now Dewalt saw that, and he's going to have to make some choices here. What is he going to want to do? Is he going to try to expand really fast, go for throw down a bunch more gates? He has some choices to make here, and he scouted that at a decent time, so I think that's a good win for him that he scouted that at least. It could have gone unscouted for a bit longer, but eOnzErG was not able to get that scouting probe, so it's a big win for Dewalt. And the real question is, what will Dewalt go for here?
Yeah, it's interesting because the thing about the way that Zergs are playing lately, is it's so difficult for Protoss to get really like aggressive or do anything kind of cheeky against it. The way 3-hatch Muta works is like you get your Spire out, it deals with the Corsair. If they're not actually going for a Corsair, you have Mutas to deal with the Zealot harass. But either way, you kind of always know what the Protoss is doing, because as soon as the Scourge come out, you bop the first Corsair, you run into the main base, be like, oh, okay, that's exactly what you're doing, and then you respond. Going for, 5-hatch Hydra, there's not really much you can do on the ground that just kills that. So it's going to be really difficult for Dewalt to do very much about this bottom left-hand base, despite the fact that he may very, very, very much want to get rid of the double gas.
Yeah, Dewalt got an Overlord there. Normally, the first Corsair, you always want to send in scouting first, but took a little bit of a risk there. And now he will not get the scout, the Scourge turning that Corsair away. So he's playing a little bit in the dark here, although he may assume Mutas, and he's continuing to produce Corsairs with weapons, +1 weapons as well. So he's at least going to have some Corsairs, which will be good. But he doesn't quite know the full extent that eOnzErG might be going for it.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of a cute choice here. I don't know if I totally agree with going directly for the Overlord first. But I mean, he's got this contingent of Zealots moving out here, which are going to give him the information that he needs once he gets down to this base. He'll see, he's going for Eon's going for Hydras. He's going for that very standard 5-hatch Hydra play. And these Zealots may get some stuff done here right now. We have got 2 Sunkens and a couple of Lings in the Hydralisk here. But, oh man, God, these drone drills are so sick, though.
Yeah, that was really good. He saved a few Zealots, gonna leave with those. He got 4 drones though, so he might get surrounded here though. So not the worst trade in the world for these zealots. Still well defended by eOnzErG with the great drone drills. And eOnzErG, I mean Dewalt, he's got some Templars coming down there as well. There are some Overlords there, so he's gonna see what he can get done with these. That's 3 Dark Templars out on the map. That's a decent number that he could catch some reinforcements from eOnzErG, some Lings or some Hydras out on the map if he does not have the Overlords with them.
These Dark Templars just walking around right now. I think I love Dark Templars, man. I wish I was like a radio DJ so I could have my own little soundboard, and every time like a Dark Templar is getting close to a unit, just like play the Jaws.
I need to get that soundboard set up.
It'd be so dope, right? Because I just feel like, oh my god, and oh man, in an instant the game is over.
Oh my goodness.
I just look up at the 12 o'clock base and then bam, what's up? Lurkers in your base, dog. That's how eOnzErG rolls.
Well,
Speaking of Jaws,
so
man.
Fast. Like, I mean, I thought that game had potential to go on a little bit longer because if those DTs were at home and if the wall was more complete, I don't think that would have done a ton.
Yeah, I mean, if the Dark Templars were here, this would have been pretty easily defended, honestly. I mean, the one problem that Dewalt would have had is he wouldn't have any detection, right? But he'd lose his wall, and that was it. The Zerglings would eventually get cleaned up by the DTs. I mean, the wall is obviously very significant. You know, you don't want to lose your forge in your gateway, but I don't think it would have just straight up died. But,
Yeah.
Man, that was brutal. Dude, speaking of Jaws, man, eOnzErG is like one of those guys. If he just catches you slipping, man, he's gonna peel your cap back and just let you have it immediately.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty insane.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I mean, that was great presence of mind for him. He saw the Dark Templars. Like, the Dark Templars, eOnzErG saw that there were 3, and then a few Zealots just chilling at the base of Eon, and then he just dives in with 2 Lurkers, and...
like 5 Zerglings, dude. He just murked them. That's terrible, dude. Oh, man. Yeah, that's got to be a hard loss for Dewalt to take. Man, I wish I played like Young. Like, I feel like that's something that some people are just good at and other people aren't. Like, it's like a feeling, right? Like, especially Korean Zergs are amazing at this, but like they can sense weakness. They're like, oh, well, I see that you have nothing at your front. I'm just going to immediately kill you before you have a chance to get any further in this game. And I mean, like, eOnzErG is notorious for being pretty damn aggressive with his units. Man, Dewalt suffered the consequences immediately.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. It's that killer sense to take every bit of scouting information you have and turn it into an opportunity to just close the game out really quickly. And it's insane because you could see that, players of our caliber could see that information and we wouldn't think much of it. And eOnzErG sees an opportunity to take a quick W. That's pretty insane. So,
oh yeah,
in the top corner, we've got the man from Russia down 0-2 in this show match, which is pretty insane. It's Dewalt.
And in the top left-hand corner, spawning as the green Zerg this time, literally dripping Dewalt's blood out of his mouth from that last game after ripping his jugular out, like literally minutes, just like barely minutes into the game. We have the killer Zerg, Eon.
eOnzErG.
Dude, that was nasty, man. That was so filthy.
Yeah.
What a disgusting win. Oh my god. I need to take a shower after that, dude. That was nasty.
I feel bad for Dewalt too, because it's tough. It's just tough to lose like that, no matter how you put it.
I don't feel bad for Dewalt, man. I don't give a shit, dude. Yeah, he may lose this show match or whatever, but he's still like literally the best Protoss out there. You know, you can't feel that bad.
It's true.
You know, I mean, like, I'm sitting here at home, like getting anxiety. Oh no, will I drop down below 1600 again? Will Nyokin make fun of me again? In the meantime, Dewalt's just like collecting ladder points from nerds all day long, just ruthlessly smacking nerd after nerd after nerd down a peg, taking away their self-confidence, destroying them as a person, their identity as a Brood War player. No, you ain't got shit on me. Well, I ain't feeling bad for you for a minute here, dog. You could win. You could lose the next like 80 games, and I'd still not feel bad for you because you're a fucking boss still, man.
Wow, that's some ruthless analysis for Dewalt.
Well, he's a Protest player too, so I ain't got no compassion. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. If he was a Zerg player, I may feel a little more for my boy. But
Ouch.
nah, I'm kidding. I swear I'm not racist, but you know, it's just Protoss. I'm not a racist, but Protoss sucks.
Well, I mean, Dewalt, he knows that he's up on the ropes here, and he went for Nexus first again.
What is happening here? Oh my god! Are you kidding me right now, eOnzErG?
He is so confident right now that he can drone.
He's gonna snipe the first cannon with drone.
Okay, the cannon is up. And there's another probe coming down.
You know, you can just get his drones in there with like a mineral walk or something. Like you can just walk through these oh my gosh, come on, drones! Let's go, boys! Ah! They're in, but the probes are here to defend the cannon. This is not gonna work.
Oh, that was a great probe angle. That was such a great angle for Dewalt. He just smacked those probes, and now the cannon's gonna get up, and now eOnzErG just threw the game pretty much.
No, this isn't done. There's no way. eOnzErG's gonna like have like 2 Zerglings, like, you know, just at like this bottom right-hand corner base, and for some reason that's gonna win him the game because he's eOnzErG. He's just gonna walk in there and just be like, "All right, you're dead, Dewalt. See ya. My 2 Zerglings killed everything that you have."
I mean,
that's not even be lurkers, dude. Eon's gonna kill him. You know what Eon's gonna do, dude? Eon's gonna kill him with an Overlord. He's gonna find a way. Gonna get an Overlord in Dewalt's base, and Dewalt's just gonna GG. Because that's how Eon rolls, man. He doesn't need no attacking units. Are you kidding me?
Left the game. No GG.
Never mind. My Overlord theory is wrong. God damn it, Eon.
Like, that was
Why?
a case of some pretty serious overconfidence there, I think.
Dude, he's got that Latin blood, man. You born with bravado, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think eOnzErG is really good, close to Dewalt, so I think it's interesting that he went for that.
Well, so here's the deal, right? I don't think it's necessarily a terrible idea. I think that it was potentially, like, if he had killed the cannon or seriously damaged the cannon, Eon could have taken a very huge lead. 3-0 is insane, right? He has so much room to continue to play this series out. So when he felt like there's the potential for a quick win, and he's already up 2-0, it's not necessarily a bad idea to try something a little cheeky here to try to get yourself even more ahead. You know, losing one game like that, not the worst thing.
Yeah. And he's still... I'm glad that he did not win that game for that. That would be pretty insane if he went up 3-0 with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, with a pretty fantastic defense, though. Very well played by Dewalt. Didn't get too crazy. You know, pulled the probes when necessary to defend against the Zergling follow-up. Dewalt didn't do, just a very solid defense here. And bam, got his first win. Easy peasy.
So,
alrighty.
Next game is Sniper Ridge. So that is the pick. Oh, sorry, 1 second. Answering question. He thinks Dewalt is gonna stream snipe.
Okay.
You think we should restart the stream with that? With a delay?
I think that's... I don't know. I mean, that's your call, man. Honestly, like, if I were running the tournament, I wouldn't let, Eon bully me into putting delay. I mean, like, I probably would have delayed it regardless. But, I mean, we're talking about two of, like, the most respected people in the foreign scene as far as skill level goes. I don't really know why Dewalt would debase himself to cheating for 70 bucks, right?
Yeah, it's true. And I think nothing in that game looked blatantly like it. Like he pulled an extra probe. He didn't pull like 5, so it wasn't blatant at all.
Yeah. All right. Just a reminder. I don't know if we got the overlay change or not.
Just did it. There we go.
Okay. Perfect. Because someone was calling out in the chat, so I just wanted to make sure we weren't getting messed up here. But alrighty, man. I want to kick us off with that introduction.
All right. From Belgium, we've got the eOnzErG in the corner of Sniper Ridge. It's eOnzErG.
And in the top left-hand corner, coming off his first win after getting drone rushed by eOnzErG and then followed up with a bunch of Zerglings, we have the blue Protoss Dewalt. But yeah, man. So hold on, but we're not gonna talk before we start talking about this game real quick here. I just want to point out some motherfucker. Pardon my, I don't know. I've been cussing out this whole time, so whatever. Some motherfucker who's donating. I don't know what's going on, but we have $7.60 in the prize pool.
What?
Now
70, right?
At $70, so $70.60. Now, at first, I got really confused. I was like, who donated 10 cents? What joker out there donated 10 cents? But then I remembered, and I learned this because I was watching the Pylon show, and Rifkin told me about it. But there's actually ways for you guys to donate additional money for free to the prize pool. If you check out the Matcherino page, there'll be links in the bottom right-hand corner that are sponsored links by people who work closely with Matcherino. And all you got to do is click them, and bam, there goes additional money to the prize pool for the tournament, which is pretty dope. I think it's like 20 cents to 10 cents, depending on the link that you click, and it's just another way that you can freely donate a little bit of cash to the prize pool without having to pull out your own little wallet there.
Yeah, and I think at least one of those works. Some of them were having some troubles getting the links to actually work. That was some issues on Matcherino's end. But even if you just donate the coupon code, that is really nice, and appreciate it, and I know these guys will as well. And the goal was $50. We smashed that, so I'm happy.
I actually think it's super awesome that we smashed that goal. You can almost always count on the Brood War scene to, pull out their pocketbooks and put a little into a prize pool for some well-respected players. I think that's maybe we're like maybe one of the smallest communities, but like per viewer or per person, like the amount of money that people are like, amount of people that are willing to donate for Brood War is like really high up there. And I think it's just because like the Brood War community is so passionate and also maybe potentially so old. Like all of you guys are just really old.
I know.
And probably have your own money by now, right? Like if this was Fortnite, it'd be like a bunch of like 13-year-old squeakers like, Mom, can I donate $5 to the prize pool for the Fortnite tournament? No. You guys are digging into that 401k, making an early withdrawal here, taking a hit on your tax return to contribute to these prize pools. And I just want to thank each and every one of you guys who are out there helping out with that. Is this a swastika? No, those are actually ridges on the map, by the way, believe it or not here. No affiliation with our current president, unfortunately. But politics in Brood War. I'm kidding. Anyways, but yeah, no. It's just the way the map is. It's just a really great map. Why you gotta make it all weird, man? Why you gotta make it awkward?
Now we'll forever associate this with the alt-right. It's funny.
Yeah. Actually, I got asked. I have an account called Doc Holiday Alt, and someone was like, "Are you calling yourself that because you're affiliated with the alt-right?" And I was like, "No, this is just my alternate account. That is what that word means, alternate. This is the alternate Doc Holiday."
Yeah, I think what you're saying about the Brood War scene is so true, because a lot of people were I've seen some people whining on some Team Liquid threads like, oh, the scene is so small and blah 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 blah, but I think the people in the scene, even though it is not a high number of people, are so dedicated, and even more than like even some scenes. I think the Brood War scene is even better than the StarCraft 2 scene, even though the StarCraft 2 scene has
Whoa. Okay, continue. Sorry, I'm gonna start some fires in this chat.
I know. I am more of a fan of the Brood War scene because even though there is less people, it feels more tight knit, and I think some of the things we do are really amazing. Even though I like the StarCraft 2 scene as well, I just feel
Oh
like the
yeah,
Brood War scene is just so amazing.
I can get down with that sentiment for sure. It's much more like a family, and I think you can say that about smaller games in general. Like when you talk to speedrunners and stuff like that, you know, like they're all friends, right? And so whenever you have a community that's like really small, and intimate like this, everyone gets to know each other, and I think it's super cool, man. Because like tournament organizers can just hit everyone up. All of a sudden, you have all of the best players playing. It's pretty dope.
Yeah, so definitely, totally agree with that. And this game has progressed quite a bit. We've covered a variety of topics, not the game though. But what we've progressed into is a pretty normal game. We've got a three base Zerg, three base Zerg, and we got some Hydras being pumped out. Now, one of the issues with Heartbreak Ridge is that if the Protoss gets locked in its base, then it can be really tough for him to push out because we got these ridges here. If you get lurkers up or even a good Hydra contain, it's so hard to push out. So one of the things that Dewalt needs to be thinking about is gaining some map presence here because the Zerg can get it really easily.
Yeah, I think right now we're the Walt's in a pretty precarious position right now. We have eOnzErG going for a 3-hatch Hydra, and this is going to be more of an all-in style, as the drone count is not quite at that 973 that so many people like to talk about. So this is much more of the all-in style 3-hatch Hydra, as opposed to the one where you just kind of try to kill the wall here. And so Dewalt throwing down these cannons very quickly, but he's going to have a very hard time because you want to usually have 4 when this attack comes.
Yeah, he only had 3 there, and he used the probes to block pretty good, but there weren't.
No.
This might just be a quick GG.
Woof. Yep. And Eon takes a quick 3rd game, man. 3-hatch Hydra, real scary. And I mean, that was all Eon, man. He did a really great job denying any kind of scouting from Dewalt with his early wings, and bam, that's what happens.
I'd bet $5 that eOnzErG is gonna drone rush again.
Oh my god.
Could you imagine?
You betting $5 for the prize pool?
Let me see. If he drone rushes again, I will donate another $5.
All right, dope. Glad to hear it. That's that. Oh man, dude. Eon, hold on. Let's hit up Eon real quick here. Get another $5.
No, do not tell.
Eon, drone rush, hurry, do it. There's $5 in it for the winner.
Someone just donated another $1 recently. Thank you for that.
Yeah, boy.
Don't know exactly who it was.
I'm just gonna take credit. It wasn't me, but I'm just gonna take credit for it.
Sure.
So you're welcome. You're welcome.
Is Dewalt creating again? Let's see.
Yeah, it looks like it. Oh wait, no, that might have been from before.
Kind of lost track of whose pick it is. Yeah, so I'll just plug Matruna here. Huge props to them. They are super amazing. And they sponsored this tournament. They gave coupon codes, set me up with all that merch deals, the mouse pads and stuff like that. So huge props to them. Hit them up. They're super amazing to work with, and I really recommend them and thank them for this. They're growing so fast too. It's pretty insane. They're doing so much for the scene, and a lot of the top guys in Maturino actually really like StarCraft and like that scene.
Oh yeah. As a matter of fact, one of the co-founders I talked to on occasion is specifically a Brood War fanatic, and so he's asked me on a number of occasions like ways that they can help out specifically the Brood War scene to get it growing. But yeah, I mean they founded Maturino with StarCraft in mind, because like Maturino has been around for quite some time now, and has grown a lot with StarCraft 2 specifically, I believe. But yeah, man, these guys are super StarCraft fanatics. You know what is crazy is I actually have no idea how their business works. It almost seems to not make sense because they're just like throwing money at esports all the time. It just seems like such a crazy like idea that someone had. Oh, okay, guys, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna start a website, and we're gonna give money away. Oh, okay, yeah, let's do that. Let's start that business, and they did. Yeah, but it's working out for them, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I know that they do use a lot of sponsorships and or what's it called, advertising agencies to for each coupon code, the clicks and the different click campaigns. The company will pay them, so they're making a little bit of money each time somebody donates money to the prize pool.
Oh yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, it's very obviously like a pretty standard like marketing type of business model. But I just think it's crazy because they're constantly throwing money at small esports tournaments, and like, and if you look at the amount of money that their sponsors give per click and stuff like that, it's kind of insane. Um, very like if you look at the sponsored links, and again, like those come from a pool of money. So someone will be like, okay, I'm gonna put $50, and for every click, it'll take out of that $50 pool until that's maxed out. So that's why some of the links don't always work at the bottom. But like those per click amounts, yeah, like that's a ton of money. That's like 20 cents per click. Like no one pays that much like via like Google AdSense or whatever. So they're doing an absolutely fantastic job supporting esports in general.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. And if anybody here watching wants to set up new tournaments, I strongly suggest reaching out to them, and they will always be willing to set up things for StarCraft. So, this game is game number 4. Sorry, game number 5. And the man in the bottom corner of Bloody Ridge, it is eOnzErG, up 3-1.
And in the top right hand corner, as the yellow Protoss, we have our man, Dewalt. Now, I want to make an observation, but I feel like it might be a little crass here. I kind of have this feeling that this map may be named this way because the giant formation in the middle of the map looks to be fairly representative of like a maxi pad, and that's just my opinion here. It may be the lack of sleep and caffeine talking, but I'm gonna go with that, man. And especially if we have like some big fights, just like dying in the middle here, and just like the blood gets all soaked up in here. I think that's a pretty reasonable
That's so
assumption, right?
nasty, dude. Thank you for now I will forever associate this map with that. And that's disgusting.
Maxi pad ridge, dude.
You know,
Dude, what do you mean it's disgusting, man? Look, that's the natural cycle of life. Your mama who gave birth to you, my friend. That's part of her life, okay? There's nothing wrong with that. That's all natural, dude. You know what's nasty? What's nasty? Toe fungus. That's nasty. This isn't toe fungus ridge, okay? This is maxi pads ridge.
Oh.
To all you ladies out there, don't be ashamed, man. That's nothing to worry about. You ain't got nothing to worry about.
I don't think Connor is gonna want to put this up on his channel now.
Oh, I'm sure he will, dude.
I was at first when you said observation, I thought, you know what, this map is a lot like which it doesn't make sense now, but looks a lot like Blue Storm in some ways.
Yeah, I know what you mean, like with that little choke in the middle.
And then you went a different direction with your observation.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, Blue Storm, not so much the same in that respect, but I can definitely see what you mean. Though you have these very narrow attack paths coming through the center here, where you may want to use small harassing units like to get through here, like Zerglings or Speed Zealots, but you definitely don't want to move an entire army through that center point there because you're not really going to be successful not getting your army stormed to death if you try to do that.
Yeah, and eOnzErG going for Forge First again. Gonna want to make sure, I mean, he has the scouting probe still alive, and it's gonna go into the main, which is nice. He's gonna get some more scouting information. I think this time he's really gonna try to prioritize scouting so he doesn't just lose to a Hydra Bust like last time, and make sure he gets enough cannons to defend that.
Oof. This probe taking hits here. eOnzErG trying his best to get rid of this probe. This scouting probe, especially, or scouting probe in general, but the scouting probe in ZVP is super essential. You really need to know if your opponent is going for a Hydra Den or if they're going for layer. And the longer you can keep this probe alive, the easier it's going to be for you to make decisions as a Protoss player. Early game is so essential for Protoss, and a lot of early or newer Protoss players to the game will have trouble trying to figure out, hey, how do I not die to a 3-hatch Hydra I don't understand. Like I just it just comes out of nowhere. And the way that you do that partially is by getting scouting information with probes.
So all Protoss people talk.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like I just figure, I mean, I play Zerg, so I'm constantly wearing sunglasses and I have my hat backwards, and I'm like, all the ladies love me. But that's my assumption. I've never lived that life before, you know. I'm trying to step into those shoes.
I always feel like those are the Protoss people that go like 3-base carrier and different things like that.
Okay, hold on though. So we got double Hydra Dens coming down in the main of eOnzErG real quick here. So we're gonna be getting double upgrades, I guess.
Huh.
Which means that we're going for 3 hatch Hydra. I can't get that high. I tried my best, dude. I'm not. I really want to be popular like in Control, but unfortunately, I'm just not nearly as handsome. I thought that joke was hilarious, so I wanted to fit it in there, but now I feel like
What, the one about the map shape?
Yeah, I'm just like a. Oh no, no, I was talking about
like...
the. Yeah, but yeah, I'm just like a poor man's in Control. I'm just like a shitty one. It's a really crappy one. I'm like the worst. Just terrible. Why'd you even ask me here?
Well, you know what? It's always fun casting with you because I'm a little bit I'm boring kind of to listen to, so I need someone to counteract. Well, like it's funny because like when me and Pysan cast together, I like casting with him, but I feel like it's almost like I don't know how to say it. Our voices have a similar kind of a sound. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't really make sense, but casting with other people who are more energetic is nice because I feel like I can get carried.
I got you. I'm like that weird friend that you invite to the party so everyone can like watch him be weird. Look at him. He's just drinking right out of the punch bowl. He doesn't even have a cup. What is he doing? Yeah. That's why he's interesting. We bring him here because he's fun. He's just a fun guy, Little.
That's all good.
Anyway.
So we got some. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say we got some zealots coming down over here, not getting too much work done and getting kind of thrown away here. But the information that Dewalt's getting from this is what's really critical here. He knows now that there are plenty of Hydras on the map, so he's going to be throwing down all 4 of those cannons immediately. We might even see a couple more here, depending on how safe he feels. And I wouldn't necessarily feel too bad about putting a couple more down, because this is a whole crap load of Hydras on the way here.
Yeah, he's got 4 cannons, or actually 3 cannons up now, and he's going to have 5 relatively soon. There's only 1 pylon, though. And the Hydra's going to start wailing away on that forge.
Yeah. It is a nice observation that there's only a single pylon powering this right now, but this is the Dewalt pylon, man. All right, this pylon's got like 30 armor. All right.
Yeah, it's
when
like
you shoot it with a Hydralisk, it actually takes negative damage and heals. So, see, Eon knows, man. He's not even targeting the pylon. He's just shooting at the cannons right now. But this is such an incredible defense coming out of Dewalt. Look at this. Eon's Hydralisks are just getting massacred right now. And I mean, he hasn't even sniped the gate yet. I mean, this gate is obviously coming down. Is going to be going down for free. We can't do anything about that. Wow, very fantastically held. All the units, initial units from eOnzErG are getting held off, and now Dewalt's going to be able to stall for more time to get those precious High Templars out there to storm this. Oh my God, this micro is so sick. Using probes to like block the Hydralisks so they can't retreat and getting more kills.
He's using probe like they have 10 armor or something. Like my probes.
Yeah, well,
don't
I mean,
do
they
that.
are Dewalt probes, so it's actually 30 armor. Believe it or not, anything with Dewalt in front of it just automatically gets 30 armor.
Yeah, I think Dewalt's holding this just fine, and eOnzErG's drone count is pretty low. So this is decent position for Dewalt since he's defending this so well. He's forced out so many Hydras, and he's not in that bad of a position. The real question is, when are the Templar going to come out? And that's when you can really start getting some damage.
I mean, both players are in pretty decent positions here. eOnzErG's Hydralisk control has been pretty fantastic so far. He's forced out a bajillion million cannons out of Dewalt here. That's really what you want to do. It's really hurting his economy. And so, between everything that's going on here, we're in a pretty even game right now. Oh my! And a huge Zealot move out from Dewalt.
I don't like this. I don't like this at all.
Yeah. Oof. And the Zealot count evaporates before our eyes here. But we do have Templar on the field now here. Not quite enough energy for storms yet, but this is going to be a significant addition to the army and the way that Dewalt is going to eventually be able to hold this off.
Yeah, he's just got to hold until he gets enough energy on the Templar. Yeah, I really didn't like that Zealot move out there. That was way too risky.
Yeah, I think that Dewalt might have thought the Hydros count was a little bit lower than it was. Ooh, and we got the Dark Templar snuck out on the map.
That was
Oh,
nice.
dude, this guy's gonna go ham. I can't wait to see what this Dark Templar does with his 20 or 34 health left on him. Hopefully something.
There's
I
an
don't know.
Overlord at
It
the
could be
other
very
end, though.
significant, though. But if we look here, I mean, Eon's got a couple of Hydralisks and a Overlord waiting, so this could potentially get sniped out immediately. But if we get into the natural expansion or the main without dying, could do some serious damage here. God, look at this though. Eon just positioning just like a small number of
the storms!
Hydralisks. Oh my God! Well, that was a very successful storm. Eon's doing a good job balancing there. He's got his 4th hatchery out now. He's starting to transition a little bit more and more into macro mode. Got lurkers on the field here, going to be trying to contain Dewalt while getting himself more established on the economy side of things here. This is going very well, I think, for eOnzErG.
Yeah, I mean, Dewalt's gateway force has really been slowed down. He doesn't have much at all. He lost a ton of zealots, and he's forced to build so many cannons, and that's a pretty big hit to his economy. And this is really tough for Dewalt. There's, eOnzErG's starting to get a good drone count now. He doesn't have to produce as many Hydras. The contain is really good. He's got lurkers, and I don't know. I think eOnzErG's gonna have to pull out something. Dewalt, rather, is gonna have to pull out something pretty big to come back in this game.
Yeah, so the thing about this build is this is exactly kind of like what you don't want to happen. In this position, Dewalt has basically one option, and it's to go 7 or 8 gate and just bust. So Dewalt knows this. He's throwing down all his gateways here, getting ready for the gigantic push out. And if this doesn't work, he basically just dies. He's going to get starved out on 2 bases while eOnzErG slowly adds on more drones, slowly adds on additional tech, slowly creeps his way out onto the map, and kind of runs away with the game on the economic level. So this is a super precarious position, and it's all going to come down to the next few moments here.
Yeah, it was a pretty bad storm from Dewalt. Totally missed lurkers, and these lurkers are in pretty good health. There's also one on the top ramp. This is going to be so hard to fight against. And he doesn't even have an observer out yet.
Yeah. Honestly, I would have agreed with you, except for I feel like that was more of a mood storm. He's just setting the tone, He's trying to make it look like a stormy day, getting ready for his loss. Gonna spend the rest of the day on the couch, reading, talking to his cat, type of thing. Because this is looking pretty grim for him, and I think he's just preparing at this point to just take the rest of the day, be a little sad, It's never nice to be sad on a sunny day. He's just got to get it all stormy up here ready for him.
Yeah, I mean, storms will replenish. Now, we've got a Shoop drop coming from Dewalt. Double Templar, Dark Templar and High Templar. I could get a decent amount of drone kills here, even if the Dark Templar gets in, so that's pretty nice. He's going to go into the main with it, which I think isn't the best because he has a lot of... Okay, the Dark Templar's going into the main. He's going to go for a storm drop.
Oh, baby! And this is so sick because when you look at this situation, we were just talking about it. This is a desperate situation for Dewalt, right? This is not like okay, they're pretty even. Dewalt's a little behind, but blah, blah, blah. This is like desperate, right? So Dewalt, instead of going immediately for the observer and trying to bust out as fast as he can, decides, you know what? I need to do something to get back in this game. And I don't think just busting is going to do it. So he goes for the risky move. He goes for the drop, and it pays off. I don't necessarily think that this has gotten him totally back into this game yet, but these are the type of moves that you need to make when you're in this situation. And I think Dewalt is doing a fantastic job of decision making.
He's bleeding some units, though, to the lurkers. That's not a great way to start. The observers are out, but the lurker, what's it called? Contain here is so good. He's got lurkers on both ends, and the storm drop's coming in here. He gets another good storm. Yeah, I think that High Templar probably had about 15 drone kills, so That's really great start for Dewalt. Now the problem is Dewalt he can't move out with his army here because the lurker angle concave is so good.
Yeah, it's actually super annoying because I mean, like these like look, dragoons are fantastic versus lurkers. But first of all, there's like about a bajillion. Oh my gosh, hey, Dark Templar boy coming in here, smacking some lurkers, getting them out of his territory here. That's not bad. 2 lurkers so far for this bad boy.
Gets 3 lurkers.
There we go, 3 lurkers. That's not a bad trade here. Anyways, I was trying to say, oh man, the obs get sniped. That's really annoying. But normally dragoons are really good, but in this situation, it's gonna be really difficult to move the dragoon ball out here into this like wider opening, but beyond the choke to really get very much use out of the dragoon ball. So I mean, this positioning is incredibly strong from Eon. Even has a couple of lurker position on the high ground, so no matter what angle Dewalt tries to break out of this, he's gonna be taking lurker fire on his army.
Okay, great storms, and he's doing all right, taking down the lurkers on the side pretty easily.
Oh man.
Still losing a ton of
man.
dragoons.
Yeah, but this is going way better than all right. This was an incredible contain by eOnzErG, and look at this. Dewalt's broken out.
He has broken out. I think, let's see. Yeah, I mean, Dewalt's pumping now with a lot of gates, and this push coming back is pretty strong. I guess I didn't realize just how much gateway units Dewalt had in his main. It's pretty insane.
I mean, this is 8 gate for you, man. You make a crap ton of units on this. Now, Dewalt is not going to be able to sustain this for very much longer. His main is basically mined out at this point. He needs to make something happen. He really needs to start doing more economic damage to eOnzErG and not letting him run away with the economic game in this. But right now, he has a very, very potent army coming across the map, and Eon just basically has Hydralisks left to deal with this.
Yeah, look at this supply. I mean, Dewalt has double the supply. It's pretty insane. But yeah, I agree. This is pretty much, if he doesn't make something happen with this army here, then I think the game will slowly start to go in Eon's favor. But here we go. The Hydras are coming forward. The storms could be really good.
Oh man, yeah, I'm just waiting, man. I'm glad we're on this map because there's gonna be all kinds of Hydra blood all over this floor in just a second.
Bad storms, really bad storms.
What's going on?
Oh, you
I think
those.
Dewalt was trying to maybe go for some mind games or something here because the storms were directly behind the Hydralisks. So I think he was trying to actually catch the Hydralisks trying to dodge the storms, but instead just kind of whiffed.
Yeah, well,
got a High Templar on the high ground though.
Now we've got some good storms, and we got one more storm left. Will it be good? It's a pretty good storm. And now the third base looks like it's in some troubles. There's some zealots cleaned up all those drones. But there's no more storms. It's just goons versus hydras, and Dewalt might barely pull this through. But he's lost a lot of supply.
I mean, at this point, though, Dewalt can afford to lose this entire army, right? So it does look like eOnzErG, well, I was going to say may potentially clean this up, but even if he did, Dewalt's going to be taking his third base. He's got High Templar on the high ground. It's going to be a very secure base for him to take.
Oh my goodness, just one.
But,
nice.
Dewalt powers through. Man, that was looking so grim for him for a little bit there. I am very proud of him. That was a super sick bust out.
I think eOnzErG was pretty confident in that, and
he
didn't expand. Like, I didn't realize. Like, I assumed that when he's in that good position, it's just going to take the base, but he was still on 3 bases, which is kind of weird. He had that contain up for a while. I don't know why he didn't expand a few more times.
Well, so it's hard. So okay, so from a Protoss perspective, when you're contained, it's like terrifying, right? You're like just sitting there, shit, I can't do anything. My Zerg's gonna expand forever. But the thing is that when you do 8-gate, which is the correct response once you've been lurker contained, you have the power to make like infinity units, right? Like we saw that. It was like a flottillion fucking units there. It was just infinity, right?
Right.
Dewalt's army was massive. So Eon is forced to continue to produce fighting units and reinforce his lurker contain, or what he can do is he can try to kind of scare Dewalt into going the 8-gate style, abandon his contain, go into a macro style, but it's kind of either or. Now Eon decided that he's gonna go all in on that contain. He's gonna make a crap ton of lurkers and gonna reinforce that contain, and he's gonna make sure that Dewalt never gets an opportunity to expand. But you make that decision, you produce tons of fighting units, spend all your money on the contain, you don't have enough money to work on your economy too much, and bam, you know, you get busted and that's game over. And I mean, I think the one thing that really actually sealed that deal for him though was that storm drop. It
Right.
didn't seem like it did, game-ending damage when you looked at it, but really that was a very significant portion of the drone count of eOnzErG
It's
at the
true.
time that went down to that one storm and the what was it, like 3 or 4 kills that Dark Templar got. That was massive. So man, like seriously, like a round of applause for Dewalt for that
Mhm.
decision making, immediately getting that shuttle. That was sick. That brought him right into the game again.
Yeah, he's been watching some Shoop games, and I mean, at first I thought that the storm it only killed like 6 drones, which didn't seem like a ton, but that's actually quite significant chunk because drones mean so much more, I think, than per unit than a probe. So 6 drones is such a huge deal.
Oh yeah, I mean Zerg's economy is exponential, unlike the linear economy of the other two races, right? So you lose 6 drones, that's that's a huge chunk of your future economy there. And then on top of the fact, I mean, Eon had committed to a double Hydra Den 3-hatch Hydra. So that's already an incredibly low economy build. So losing those drones that early on in the game, once he's trying to go for the macro on 5-hatch, is absolutely massive. You know, that
Yeah,
took away his opportunity to go expand. And Dewalt definitely deserved that win after an incredibly hard fought game that, in my opinion, looked almost impossible for him to win at certain points.
yeah, definitely. I thought there was no way out and we were gonna have a quick show match, but pulling it back, and props to him. All right, in the top corner, the blue Protoss. It's Dewalt, down 2-3.
Alrighty, guys, and in the bottom left-hand corner, spawning as the eOnzErG, we have on match point for him, eOnzErG.
So Clayfields I chose. It was recommended to me because it is a foreign map, and I guess one of the things I wanted to do with these show matches is kind of showcase some good foreign maps and foreign players. So Dewalt, eOnzErG, some of the top foreigners, and this map is, I think, one of the more successful foreign maps. So it's cool to see these map creators created something pretty nice.
Yeah, one of my favorite things that I've been seeing on newer maps lately are these little, you see like these little weird funky things, like the little doodads
Oh
here
yeah,
where you place your bases. I love that, man. I mean, I'm sure Eon and Dewalt could probably place their base with their eyes closed, but for me, bro, like it's like on Circuit Breaker 2, like when you drop your hatch in that little box, you're just like, yeah, I know I did it right. Like it's just it makes it so much easier for everybody. I love that little add-on that you don't see on some of the older official maps.
yeah. I think it's interesting because I think there was a lot of discussion. It could be wrong, but people said that made the game too easy and it took away an element of like the game being skilled. But I think those are cool. There's always going to be a
Yeah.
discussion about stuff like that, but I think
Honestly, too, like being able to use your mouse makes the game like so much easier than like if we weren't able to use mice. As a matter of fact, why do we even let people who have eyes play Brood War? Wouldn't it be so much harder if you could only play if you couldn't see? Like, I feel like that takes a lot of the skill away from the game. Nah, dude, anyone who makes those arguments are just
got
they're
to
just
keep the game
tryhards, dude.
pure.
That's the thing.
I
Like,
love it when people talk
I,
about the purity of the game. It's funny.
I am a Brood War purist to an extent, right? But anyone who makes like the ridiculous arguments, like don't show anyone the maps on the like it doesn't it doesn't take away skill at the highest levels. Whereas what's important, like people who are like Brood War purists for like 1400, 1300, 1100 players, it's like why does that matter? Who cares about what's going on at that level? We don't balance the game for those dudes. It's not like we're making balance changes to preserve the 1400 experience. Nah, dude. We're making sure that balance doesn't get changed so that people like Bisu and Jadong and Flash and them don't have to all of a sudden adapt to something that's totally different and ridiculous. I mean, so yeah, dude, put those little squares there. Jadon doesn't need that shit. I need that shit. Put the
Yeah,
map on the left side. Jadon doesn't need that shit. My girlfriend needs that shit. So when she's playing for the first time ever, she'll like be like, "Oh, that's where my natural expansion is." Like
yeah. I think it's interesting
I don't
because
know.
I can understand, the sentiment because
Oh my god. What a
Sick
huge
probe
probe
snipe.
snipe. Sorry, what were you saying?
I was saying that I can understand the sentiment of that because I do think some of the things that made Brood War more skilled versus StarCraft 2, like only selecting 12 units, made a better game in the end. And I think I can understand that. So I can see some people not wanting to affect the game. They want to keep the game as close as it was in the beginning as possible. I can understand that, but I think those small add-ons are pretty cool, anyways, and they're not
Yeah,
that big of a deal.
I mean, and that's where I'm what I'm getting at, right? I'm talking about we don't change anything at the highest level of play. We
Mm-hmm.
don't change anything that would affect, like we're not gonna change. You're not gonna change, multiple building select. You're not gonna change, the units, the amount of units that you can select at one time because that affects balance. That does, right?
Right.
But
Yeah.
putting a little square with squiggly things where you put your base doesn't affect balance because no one that is remotely relevant to the competitive play of Brood War is going to have an issue.
Well, Dark Matter.
So,
It's been notorious for misplacing his CCs.
oh yeah, Dark Matter. Oh, my bad. I forgot about Dark Matter. Speaking of which, guys, you can catch Dark Matter on this season of KSL. Going to be winning the finals, no questions asked. Flash was going to sign up, but he decided to go for that Chinese gig instead because he heard Dark Matter was going to compete and knew he had no chance.
Okay, so the scouting probe got in, which is a pretty big deal, but got gunned down immediately. So, but
Yeah.
nice from Dewalt to sneak that in.
Yeah, and I mean, Dewalt does have the Zealot here, seeing drone counts and actually getting some kills, which is pretty significant. You really don't want to let that Zealot get any drone kills at all. But I mean, he's doing a good job being active here. And I think unless we see a third cannon out of Dewalt, I'm gonna assume that he thinks it's gonna be going for that 3-hatch Spire play, which is gonna be just like going into standard. No drone rushes today. No double Hydra Den. Just good old couple Scourge coming out of here. But man, these Zealots are getting a ton done. We're denying a ton of mining time. We're getting drone snipes. Like wow, Dewalt's control is so fantastic right now.
eOnzErG's lane control is pretty good though. That Zealot in the third didn't get anything done. So, but you're right. He's getting those Zealots in and denying a ton of mining time, which is pretty significant in and of itself. And we might be seeing a longer game shape up where we have the 3-hatch Spire versus Dewalt going to be stabilized. Not going to have his back against the wall early like he did when the games he was contained. We might start to see some bigger armies, hopefully, and see some of that classic late game PvZ or mid game.
Oh yeah, I mean we're definitely getting at least to that chunky mid game here. Ian's got his 5 hatches down so far. That is going to be probably the most standard at this point style of the ZVP. Although 6 hatch is becoming very popular as of late. The only difference is kind of like the amount of hydras you get when, and the tech and all that. 6 hatches is more economic. It kind of stays on the back foot for a little bit longer, gets more upgrades, gets more drones. Goes for a much heftier later game. But as we're looking right now, it looks like we're going to be seeing just a 5-hatch Hydra, but mutas are being produced. Never mind. All right. So, well, eOnzErG getting a little freaky deaky here. Although I think this is just how he plays 5-hatch Hydra. He likes to go for the mutas and some Scourge to be able to snipe this High Templar. So I guess not super freaky deaky. Just eOnzErG.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I don't see a lot of other Zerg players do that. I mean, eOnzErG he seems to just really like that early Scourge muta play, and he doesn't commit like a ton to it. He just gets into his normal 3 base, and he will produce more Hydras. But ooh, a DT.
Ooh, can he get another one?
Oh
no, 3 kills, not terrible. But yeah, I mean, so this is a standard. Like this is standard 100%. It's just not as common as the lurker style is, but this isn't like a weird build by any chance. You definitely see this much more at higher levels than you do at lower levels because it takes a lot more control and a lot better decision making. But this isn't like a crazy like eOnzErG style. But
oh my goodness!
Oh man, though.
I think Dewalt underestimated how many mutas there were going to be. There's only 3 mutas left, but he needs to produce some Dragoons, and he's moving across the map with some Zealots, maybe hoping to make some dive work there. And he needs to get some Dragoons out if he's going to defend this.
Well,
Ooh, that Corsair gets sniped instantly.
yeah, this is a really hard thing about this. Oh my gosh, and the Dark Templar coming in here. Not getting too much work done, though. Just 2 kills on that DT, but this Stargate's going to get to be camped for basically forever, so long as eOnzErG doesn't. Well, I was going to say so long as these mutas stay in the main base here and deny cannons from coming up here. But yeah, I mean, I think that we're probably going to have to see Dragoons being produced here, which is really, really uncomfortable for Protoss player at this point in the game, because they really want to be spending their gas on their Templar right now.
I have no idea why eOnzErG moved his mutas back.
I think he was worried about defending his third base here, because there was a fairly significant amount of pressure coming that way, but he did a good job with the sunken placement.
Oh,
and all
Dewalt
that.
just leaves.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was the right decision. He didn't really have an opportunity to reestablish his main base. You know, I mean, he had the mutas there for forever, and his Corsairs were constantly just getting, you know, blown up
I
by
mean,
flying banelings.
I'm kind of surprised he didn't produce a couple Dragoons there. He had enough time to produce a cycle or 2 of Dragoons, and it definitely seemed like that would have been a little bit more effective. But
Yeah, I mean, if there was something that you were gonna do, that would probably be the thing to do. But when you play at this level, you can't really die. Like that was just too much damage. You know, like when you play like against me, right? Make those Dragoons, dude. Do it, because I'm not gonna be able to. Like, I'm not gonna kill you, bro. Like you could get back into that game, I promise. But when you're playing against eOnzErG, this dude doesn't make mistakes. When Eon gets ahead, he stays ahead, man. So, I mean, sure, you may kill those 4 mutas that were left, eventually. But, you know, you're going to be so far behind your probe count, your third base is never going to get up. There's going to be about 5 bajillion Hydralisks barreling down the front of your natural base in a couple minutes, and you're just going to die. So, you know, I don't blame Dewalt at all for leaving that game, even though it did seem, it felt premature, even though I don't think it was.
yeah, and but congrats to Dewalt. He showed some really good games, and I think these players, even though it was a 4-2 win, these players are still pretty evenly matched. The mind games are pretty intense, so there can be some quick games like with the drone rush. But these are still really well-matched players, and I think right now, especially, the best Protoss and Zerg in the foreign scene.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. You know, some people could make a case for a couple of different players at different points in time. But especially for the people who are playing actively and trying it out and to do their best right now, I would say that Dewalt is definitely the best Protoss, and Eon's definitely the best foreign Zerg right now. I mean, we haven't seen Boneth out in a while. Suzuki, True Touch, those guys have not been quite as active in the scene, and so these guys are the pinnacle of what it looks like to be a foreigner right now.
Exactly. And well, first of all, happy birthday, Doc. I forgot about that.
Hey, thanks, man.
And
yeah, I'm 29 now, so I honestly, at this point, it's kind of like, oh shit.
it's all downhill.
Yeah.
But everybody for watching, thank you. We got some decent viewers. I think we peaked at about 50. That's still cool. And we smashed the prize pool, like I said. Got $71 being paid out to these guys. Thank you for everybody who did that. I want to be doing more of these. I really like this idea. Thank you, eOnzErG and Dewalt, if you guys are watching this or watching the VOD. Thanks a ton for playing. I'm sorry I had some hiccups in the organization of it, but I want to continue on with these, and hopefully we can continue to highlight some really good foreign players in the scene. So, if that's all, Doc, you got anything else to say? We'll close this out. Went a little bit shorter than I expected, but I think we still had a pretty good time.
Yeah. I just wanted to say, thanks to everybody who took the time to click the Match Arena links, use those coupon codes to do everything you can to support foreign esports, especially foreign Brood War. I think it's super important that we're all engaged as a community to try to get this game back up into the the eye of more mainstream esports. Because as we've been saying in this cast, I really love the fact that we're a small family and everyone knows each other and it's all everyone's friends and it's very intimate. But more than anything, what I really want to see is I want to see more cash in the pockets of these great players, because that's going to let more
Word.
people do what they do, more full time. I would love to see eOnzErG get to 3K MMR, go over to Korea and become a pro gamer. I want that to be a dream that's attainable for these guys that are out there, to get sponsorships, to get paid. I think that'd be fantastic. So if you guys can, try to support every Brood War event out there that you can afford to, if not with your cash, with your viewership. And thank you guys all so much for tuning in and contributing to prize pools and everything.
Exactly. And that will be it, guys. We'll see you guys later. Stay tuned. If you get any more show matches lined up, and I will see you guys later. So take it easy, guys, and have a good one.
Adios.